All right, we are live on YouTube. Welcome to another very special episode of Navigating the Modern World with Eli. Glad you could all join me here today on this Saturday afternoon. If you're here live or watching this the day it was done live, it is Saturday, January 17th, 2026. You know, I don't even really know where to start. I mean, I do know what to talk about. There's just a lot to talk about. And this has become crazy, insane, out of control, ridiculous. I think the best way I can describe it is I am flabbergasted. I am absolutely flabbergasted at the behavior of this one group of people led by one person that I am suing in a Florida Circuit civil case. Filed suit almost 4 months ago or around 4 months ago, and he has not de-escalated. There are some things that transpired today, and I'm going to get to those in a little bit, but first, let me make sure everything is rolling smoothly. GLM is here first, and so is my lady Dawn. Respectfully, maturely, and professionally, Dawn's in the house. The back end of YouTube is rolling well. And let me make sure the notification went out. It did. And let me do a sound check. Best way I can describe it is I am flabbergasted. I am absolutely flabbergasted at the behavior of this one. Yeah, I'm quite flabbergasted. I'm flabbergasted beyond belief. I'm flabbergasted beyond a reasonable doubt. Eli, you got to stop it with those court phrases, right? Let's just start off by reading the topic of the stream. The topic is massive commercial exploitation of me continues. Here's how I'm handling it and what to expect. One more time, massive commercial exploitation of me continues. Here's how I'm handling it and what to expect. What's going on and what's up next. And there's plenty coming. First thing I'm going to start off by saying here right now, if I see my numbers going down from a reasonable amount, or if somebody bots me to try to lead me to believe that there's no simulcast going on, I've got my whole entire team looking for simulcasts. Anyone that rebroadcasts this stream will be taken down in real time, which will cost your channel a 7-day penalty from being able to stream and possible other platform enforcement. Period. End of story. I'm not playing around. I am not playing around. I have not been playing around, but this one group of people continues to play around, primarily led by the defendant in my circuit civil case. Let's just call him Mr. J. Mr. J. J is the first letter of his first name. So we're just going to call him Mr. J. Now, excuse me. A lot of things have been going on. And we're just going to focus more primarily on Mr. J, because he's the leader of this group. He's the one that's kept them all together and still keeps them all together. And he still leads everyone in his group to believe things that are either taken way out of context or are simply not true, right? In my opinion, he seems to live in a world of altered reality. At least that's how he presents himself out here on YouTube. In the real world and in the court of law, he's going to find out that living in an altered reality is not going to help you in court, in my opinion. One of his main defenses regarding all of this that I'm going to talk about here today is that I'm trying to silence his freedom of speech. And I'm not trying to silence his freedom of speech or anyone else's freedom of speech, and he knows it. This all boils down to one thing: commercial exploitation. And either he doesn't understand fair use, copyright law, and the 4 factors of fair use, or he does understand and he's choosing to play it off otherwise, so he keeps his audience believing that he's in control, he's the man, he's right, and I'm wrong, right? I don't make the laws. I choose to follow them, right? And here's the thing. You folks yourselves can go out there and read copyright law, including fair use. Section 107 here in the U.S. is fair use within copyright law. There are 4 factors to fair use. You can't just say, I'm going to do commentary so I can use someone's content as much as I want. I can make someone the product of my channel or of my stream, and that's okay. And then incite donations while I'm doing it, and that's okay. No, it's not okay. It's not okay. You see, this guy can talk about me all he wants. He can talk about me all he wants. What he can't do is defame me and violate my copyright. Now, if he does fair use the right way, which he has not done fair use the right way. Fair use allows you to use small excerpts, right? That includes using small excerpts in a live stream. If you're going to talk about somebody within a live stream, you can talk about them. You can even use a small clip to do commentary on, typically 1, 2, 3 minutes, maybe 4 or 5 minutes at the most. Talk about it 5 or 10 minutes. But when you sit there and you constantly make someone the product of your entire stream or the majority of the stream, right? 50% or more, 75% or more, or sometimes 100%. This guy has made me the product of his content when he talks about me, which is fine. He seems to think that I'm unhappy about a stream he reviewed last night on his channel regarding me being a guest on somebody's show from a group called MGTOW, MGTOW, which stands for Men Going Their Own Way. I was a guest on a channel run by somebody in the MGTOW community. His name was DDJ. He ran the Miss Andry Today channel. And that was 8 years ago. I'm not ashamed of what I said 8 years ago. I can care less about what happened in that or on that stream. I could care less about that. What I care about is being commercially exploited, whether you're using my content that I have a copyright on or someone else's content where I was a guest on, right? I have no copyright on DDJ's Miss Andry Today's channel. I have no copyright authority on that. Okay? The defendant is right on that. But he still took parts of that, or the majority of, that stream we did back then when I was a guest on this channel, the DDJ's channel. And he stretched it out into an hour and a half plus watch party. He made it a watch party, right? He doesn't understand that the amount and substantiality, I learned how to say that word, the amount and substantiality of the work matters, right? Is it truly transformative in nature? Or is it just replacing the original? That matters, right? What does this guy do? He uses my content as the product of his channel. And all he does is talk smack about me, where if he's not defaming me, that's fine. But what he's saying is not substantial. It's not substantially transformed into something new. It's basically just commercially exploiting someone for as long as he can on any live stream, so that way his audience of Eli haters can donate to him. Well, let's find out where the restream is at. Let's find out. Give me a second here. Can't forget good old Rumble. Let me see. Yeah, give me 1 second here. Let's just see a couple other channels here. Yeah. Let me see here. Okay. Well, somebody is restreaming somewhere, and they're not doing it publicly. Why aren't you doing it publicly? Because you still want to have your say. You're triggered and you want to take away viewers that would be mine. That's part of the issue. Your entire group has taken away lots of viewers. Even if people don't like me, they want to watch my content, and they should be watching it on my channel, not yours. I'm flabbergasted. I am just completely flabbergasted. This group of people, they react and overreact. They have an anxious attachment style. Let me tell you what happened. I filed 2 DMCA copyright takedown notices on the defendant's main channel earlier this morning. I have the right to do that. I did that because I'm tired of this person commercially exploiting me, especially when I've already filed a circuit civil case about 4 months ago. And that's what part of the case is about. commercial exploitation. A lot of that commercial exploitation will be handled in the circuit civil case. The copyright infringement will be handled later on in a federal copyright case that I'm going to be filing as soon as I get my 3 copyright certificates that I filed the last week of December of last year, 2025. Now, I did not take down those videos from the defendant's YouTube channel because he actually took them down himself. Now, he has backup copies on Rumble, and I believe he was talking on his stream earlier. I've got the transcript already. I'm going to go over that in a little bit. I think he said he's going to try to go to Rumble and start doing some things over there, right? That's fine. We'll just file over there. And we'll just use that all as evidence between both court cases. There really is no way around this besides stop the copyright abuse, stop the commercial exploitation, and stop defaming me. Now, you can talk about me all you want. You can use small clips, even on a live stream, for a few minutes. What you can't do is make me the product of your entire stream and then commercially exploit it. Now, here's the thing. If he did this once in a while, every now and then, it would still be wrong, but I could overlook that. But he's done this continuously for the last 6+ years, off and on at times. But lately, he's been doing it all the time. Last year, I filed a lot of copyright strikes on the defendant. It ended up taking down 2 of his channels. I filed 2 copyright claims board lawsuits on him. The first one he opted out of. The second one, I dismissed it without prejudice, with the right to be able to file in federal district court within the 3-year copyright statute of limitations. And for a while, he stopped using my content. Then he came back to making it about court. He took me to court to try to get a stalking order on me. That failed, right? He made content off of that. And he stopped for a while, using massive amounts of my content and doing the watch party thing. But then he started back up again. And that's why I filed those copyright takedown notices today. You're wrong about that, GLM. You own the copyright to any of the streams that I've been on your channel. You can give me permission to use your content under fair use, or you can give me full permission. But I don't need to use your content or anyone else's content. That's your content. I want to support you and help you grow. But I get what you're saying, GLM. But that's not how copyright law works. You're the creator. You have the copyright on that. You can give myself or anyone else permission for a limited time, permanently. You can revoke it, and you can give it and revoke it as many times as you want, right? She's not going to serve you, GLM. That whole case was a big sham, right? It was a big sham, right? So I filed the 2 copyright strikes, and literally less than a half an hour after that happened, the defendant went live, like he always does. He's very reactive. He reacted, he went live. We're going to go over the transcript and paraphrase things in a little bit here and correct the record regarding what he said. We're going to do that in just a little bit. Give me a second here. Let's see. You love hide and go seek, Miss T? Is it unlisted, Miss T, because you're afraid of platform enforcement? Or just admit that none of you can survive out here on YouTube without my content? You folks are severely attached to me and my content. And it's pretty weird. It's really weird, right? You're watching me right now and you're trying to send me subliminal messages, subliminal passive-aggressive messages through your community wall on a Saturday afternoon. That shows how invested you are, right? And I can't control what you do unlisted. What I can't control is what you show publicly. And what I can also control is what happens in court. So whether you're here on my channel or you're on an unlisted restream, because these people are afraid to even go live publicly now because they know they're going to be enforced through a DMCA copyright takedown in real time, and they're going to end up in federal court, because that's where things are going from this point on. Things are going to go to federal court. Now, the defendant is going to file 2 counter notifications. We already know that. So I'm just going to put it out there publicly and state that once I get those, over the next few days, I'm going to file 2 more copyright certificates with the U.S. Copyright Office, also known as the U.S. Library of Congress. Those are regarding streams of mine that I did a couple weeks ago, and filing those within the first 90 days of publication also grants me statutory damages. Once I get those, I'm going to have 5 copyright certificates that entitle me to be able to sue for statutory damages. Now, I'm still waiting for my first set of copyright certificates. It's going to be probably a few more months before I get them. So what I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm going to file another Copyright Claims Board case and see if the defendant will face me in the Copyright Claims Board. He probably won't. He'll probably opt out, right? But either way, regardless, by the time that case is dealt with in the Copyright Claims Board, at that point, I will have probably already filed my federal copyright case when I get my first 3 certificates. And then I'm going to add the other 2 to the same case. So here's what's going to happen. We're going to end up at some point, more than likely in federal court, with 5 copyright certificates that entitle me to sue for statutory damages on all 5 pieces of content. And all 5 pieces of content are going to show a pattern of the same thing, right? Watch parties, right? Commercial exploitation, right? Copyright infringement, right? He's going to try to claim fair use, and we're going to go over in a little bit. We're going to go over this in a little bit, why it's not fair use. But that's going to be his argument. Yeah, give me a second. Is it hilarious, Mr. Defendant? Is it hilarious that you are continuing to steal my content unlisted? Is it? Because it doesn't matter, right? You can have your fun hiding in plain sight, you and your miserable group of people, right? But it's not going to be fun when you're dealing with me in federal court with 5 copyright certificates, and you're going to be dealing with willful copyright infringement, which each one of those certificates, if I win the case, entitles me to a minimum of $750. 750 times 5, that's $3,750. Willful infringement is up to a maximum of $150,000 per certificate. If it's regular infringement, up to $30,000, right? $750 minimum for both. So quite frankly, I really don't care that you're doing a restream. I do care, but I don't care at the same time, right? It's wrong, but I can't control that. I can only control what I see, right? But your behavior publicly, you and the lady you're acting in concert with, oh boy, this is hilarious, LOL, right? And then on Miss T's wall, I love hide and go seek, LMAO. Are you people in your right mind? Sir, you're a 40-year-old grown man, and that other woman is 59 years old. And you're playing games like 2-year-olds do in the playground, in preschool, or even before preschool, right? Do you think your behavior is normal? Does anyone think this behavior is normal? These people are massively stuck at the hip obsessively with me. They are into me and my content. They want nothing but me. It's weird. It's a fixation of the defendant. I think you want to be me, sir. I think you want to be me in some weird way, right? And you know what? I can't really blame you for that because I'm a good person. And you're sitting here watching me on a Saturday afternoon, early evening, because you're on the East Coast, right? Instead of doing other things, right? Absolutely pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. So that's a little bit about what's going on and how we're going to handle it. And as far as you, sir, Mr. Defendant, Mr. J, using my 2 copyright takedowns in the anti-slap hearing, and you're going to try to tell Judge Stacy that I'm trying to silence your freedom of speech by filing 2 legal and proper DMCA copyright takedowns? Do you really think that's going to fly in court? It may fly with your audience. I don't even think it flies with them anymore. Like, honestly, I don't know how many more ways you can try to spin this before your own audience sees, you know, how ridiculous this is. It is. It is. You're not stopping, so I'm going to keep on enforcing. I have the right to enforce my rights. You keep violating my rights, I'm going to continue enforcing my rights. Period. Period. I'm not going to say end the story because I have more to talk about. But before I get to my notes here, I ran a lot of things through ChatGPT, took my own notes as well. Before I do that, I'm going to step away and take a quick break. So let me cue up some royalty-free YouTube music. Yeah, it really doesn't matter what's going on right now. I mean, it does, but it doesn't, because what really matters is what happens in court, right? Including at the spoliation hearing in 20 days from now, that I'm pretty much like 85% prepared for. I've got all the evidence that he claims I spoiled uploaded to my server. I just need to put together over the next few days the filing of it with the court. And Judge Stacy will say, these exist. Where's the spoliation of evidence, right? Do you understand, sir, what spoliation of evidence is? She's going to ask you probably, just like Judge Bowie asked you, do you know what sexual harassment is? I couldn't believe that. I mean, she's got to be the nicest judge on the planet. Like Judge Bowie around these YouTube streets is famous. Like Judge Bowie, one of the best judges I've seen. And I have a feeling Judge Stacy is going to be just as good. Judge Bowie asked the defendant, who was the petitioner, also known as the plaintiff, but they call them the petitioner. Whoever files the petition is the petitioner / plaintiff in a stalking harassment case. And I was the respondent, also known as the defendant, right? She asked him, do you know what sexual harassment is? Do you know what spoliation of evidence is? I can only foresee the same thing happening in a different case with a different judge, but in the same exact courthouse, Seminole County, Florida, right? Anyway, I'm going to step away. Tia, member for 18 months. The GNA is number one. Thanks to all involved with this organization. Oh, wow. Wow, they just highlighted you, huh, Tia? How are you doing? Wow, that is absolutely awesome that YouTube does that. That's a milestone. Tia, we're going to give you a big round of applause. Thank you so much, Tia. You know, here at the GNA, people mean more to us than just their money. And Tia knows that, but Tia has been one of the most generous financial supporters of the GNA. But she's been a great friend as well. Respectfully, maturely, and professionally, Don says, thanks, Tia. What did she say there? I don't know what that means. Okay. All right. So I'm going to step away for a quick break here. Let me just finish up queuing up the music. And it's all set. Stick around. Stick around. We'll be back in about 5 to 7 minutes. Stick around. We'll be right back. We are back live. We are back live. And we are just going to scratch it and get right back down to business. Welcome back to Navigating the Modern World with Eli. Glad you could all join me here today for this very special show. During the break, I went over to the community wall of the defendant and, his partner that he works with in this group together. Let's just call it that. We don't want to use another word and have them spin it out of context, right? And they're acting like little kids. Like tag, you're it, back and forth on their community walls, making postings in caps and trying to taunt me and this and that. The only thing that does is make you look more unreasonable than you already do. I mean, is that the way you want to publicly represent yourself out here on YouTube? Because the majority of people on YouTube are going to see that and they're going to be like, wow, this woman's 59 years old, this guy is 40 years old, and that's how they behave, right? And yeah, you do it for your audience, but that just speaks mountains about your audience as well, right? Let's not focus on that. Let's just focus on the facts. Let's focus on correcting the record. Let's get right to it, okay? So, number one, what's really going on regarding the stream the defendant did earlier, about a half an hour or so after I filed 2 DMCA copyright takedown notices, and literally YouTube took them down like 2 minutes after I filed them. There was no doubt that it was clear-cut copyright infringement, right? A, the defendant concedes the core fact. YouTube removed 2 videos and struck his channel. He acknowledges the removals and the strike and emphasizes that YouTube gave him the strike while I claimed 2 videos. And that was him trying to reframe who did it. But the operational fact remains. 2 removals plus an account consequence happened. He doesn't care about that. He has other channels. That's not even a big deal. At least to him. It is a big deal, but not to him, right? B, he tries to reduce fair use to commentary equals automatic fair use. And that's not how it works, sir. There are 4 factors to fair use. You're going to find out about that in federal copyright court. He repeatedly asserts the streams were fair use commentary streams, not restreams. It doesn't matter if they're restreams or not. It doesn't matter if you're using my live content as it's happening live or if you use the replay or a pre-recorded video. That doesn't matter. What matters is you used my content in a way that's not fair use. And frames the issue as silencing his commentary. What other argument would he have? He has no argument on that anyway, but what other argument would be possible for him to fight in court besides trying to silence my First Amendment speech? It's fair use. Everything is fair use. Just because I talk over it. What's missing is that he never actually grapples with amount and substantiality. Amount and substantiality. How much he used and whether it was the heart of the work. You use the heart of the work to the point of where the people that are watching it on your channel don't have a reason to go to my channel. That goes against you and your fair use assertion. Market substitution. Watch party format. Letting viewers consume the substance without going to your upload. Right. Instead, he tries to win by slogan. Fair use commentary. Freedom of speech. Right to commentate. Okay. That's going to be your defense in federal copyright court. Okay. I know what your defense is going to be. We all know. C, he inadvertently spotlights the product/monetization motive. He plainly connects your takedown to his ability to make money/donations and frames this as how I make my living and how I make donations. Yeah, he tried to blame me for trying to take away, the way that he makes money. And he made it sound like it's his only job. I thought you had another job, sir. I thought YouTube was secondary. Is that you admitting something about a job that you may or may not have? I don't know. But you said this is the way you make money. This is the way you make your living. You called it your job. D, he admits deterrence worked. I'm not going to use any more of his content on YouTube. Oh, okay. I'll believe it when I see it, or when I don't see it. Let's put it that way. This is one of the most important lines in the entire transcript. That statement isn't a legal confession, but it is acknowledgement that your enforcement is effective and a change in behavior in response to consequences. And immediately after, he lays out the workaround that he's going to show my content on Rumble instead. And he also asked his audience to scan for any content of mine left on his channel so he can remove it before there's more, DMCA copyright takedown enforcement, right? That is not I didn't do anything wrong. It is I want to keep doing this, but not where it gets me struck, not where it gets me struck. I want to keep doing this, but not where it gets me struck, right? Or gets you in trouble, right? E, he pre-butts your strongest argument, which tells you what scares him. He explicitly preempts your position as, you used like 15 minutes of my content, but you stretched it out. That's what you did. We're going to get done a little bit. And you're going to have to answer to that in federal copyright court. That's him trying to make your watch party / substitution framing sound silly by pretending the only issue is an imagined time limit on commentary. But notice, he's the one who raises the exact structure you've been describing. A long segment built around a smaller chunk of your work. That's the tell. F, he publicly describes evasive editing methods. He says in his intro, in the beginning, that his intro is foolproof. Yeah, the truth bomb thing, even though that's not technically my copyright, if it was done on your channel or someone else's, but that is my name and likeness. And that's still commercial exploitation. He cherry-picked very cleverly, used cartoons over faces, and it's not anything that I own, so I can't strike it. I don't care to strike down your intro. I don't care to do that. I don't care if you talk about me. I don't care if you actually do fair use the right way. What I care about is commercial exploitation, stretching out my content over long live streams so that way people can donate to you. That's what you're doing, and it will clearly be proven not only in copyright court for the copyright enforcement, but where you enforce commercial exploitation is in the circuit civil court. In both cases, we're going to be talking about that in court. And you can spin the whole thing any way you want out here on YouTube, sir. It's not going to matter in court. What matters in court is what the actual law is and what evidence that we both have. And I've got a lot of evidence to prove this. Lots. Again, not a legal admission of infringement, but it is a pattern of conscious avoidance. And he's basically saying to himself that how can he keep doing this without getting hit, right? G, he pivots to bad faith coercion to blur the record ahead of the February 6th spoliation of evidence hearing. He tries to splice your preservation messaging into a trap narrative. If I preserve evidence, I risk getting struck. No, I've got all the evidence already. I don't care what you take down or don't take down. I download everything I need in advance and I host it on my own server for litigation purposes only, which is perfectly legal. coercive, mixed messaging, bad faith, corner me publicly. This is pure narrative defense. He's trying to muddy motives rather than address what happened in the videos that were removed. We're going to address it here in a little bit. Number 2, correcting the record points. Point 1, what happened? 2 videos were removed after review. That's all I needed. Enforcement of my rights. Point number 2, commentary doesn't equal fair use on its own. Fair use is a 4-factor test. I added commentary isn't a free pass if the segment is structured around extended playback of the original work. Point 3, and we're going to talk more about his latest trick, right? His latest sleight of hand trick. Playing content at 1.5 speed or 2 speed, 1.5x or 2x. So playing content at 1.5 speed or 2 speed doesn't transform it. It just compresses time while delivering the same copyrighted expression. Basically, you can get more content per minute. Keep that in mind. We'll come back to that. Boy, man, what this guy won't try, in my opinion, right? Point 4, watch party structure is the issue. When a segment is built around playing substantial portions of someone else's video, pause, comment, play, pause, viewers can consume the substance without going to the original. That's substitution. So your pause thing is really technically not fair use. It's what somebody does on a live stream to stretch out a piece of content to further commercially exploit it. Pause, comment, play, pause. Point 5, the product point stated safely. When my video is what's being shown and reacted to for an extended block, my work becomes the centerpiece of that segment. That's why I enforce. Basically, I am the product of his video or his channel at times. Notice, centerpiece is cleaner than product, but means the same thing. Well, thank you, ChatGPT. Point 6, deterrence/boundary stated calmly. Okay? If someone says they won't use my content on YouTube anymore, that's fine. I'm not here for back and forth. I'm here to protect my work. Bottom line. And this isn't personal. It is rights enforcement. I'll keep it professional and I'll keep it documented. That's all I'm doing. And he knows it. Number 3. The straight talk takeaway from this transcript. He's trying to reframe removals as speech suppression. That's not what it is. I look forward to you trying to bring that up, or you're going to bring it up because you have no other defense besides the anti-slap, and you're going to try to say I'm trying to silence you. No, I've got too much proof against that. You can talk about me all you want. I'm telling you, you can go live and talk about me without using any video like I'm doing right now. You can create a transcript, take notes like I do, and read off your notes. Number 2, reduce fair use to commentary and move future use off platform to Rumble while building backup channels. That's not confidence, that's damage control. That's what you did today when you went live, sir. You did damage control in case your channel goes down. Because once you get 2 copyright strikes, they're looking at your channel. They're running internal tools, and they're looking to see what else is going on there. That's what YouTube does to protect themselves. Okay. Let's continue with further explanation of this, okay? I'll give it to you straight, grounded, and careful without hyping it or crossing into speculation. What is factual and defensible based on the pattern of conduct that I described and the evidence I'm acting on? The defendant is structuring content around your copyrighted material rather than merely referencing it. He is repeatedly using extended playback of your streams as the central feature of his videos. He continues doing this after notice, after takedowns, and while litigation is ongoing. That behavior predictably draws attention, engagement, and donations tied to my content. That's exactly what you're doing, sir. That's called commercial exploitation. And that will be handled in the circuit civil case, sir. That's not a copyright issue directly. I can use that in the copyright court as well to show your pattern of willful behavior, right? But this is more so going to be brought up in the circuit civil case. From a legal and platform perspective, that supports the conclusion that your work has become the product being delivered to his audience, not incidental background to commentary. I'm your product, sir. You know it. But what else are you going to say? If someone was doing this to you at the level you're doing it to me, you'd be enforcing your rights too, sir. And don't try to spin it a different way like you wouldn't. You would. That's not an emotional statement. It is a description of how the content is constructed. The clean framing is the structure and repetition of the content shows reliance on my work as the core draw. That's enough, right? That says it all. Why my response is appropriate. When someone continues the same conduct after notice, escalates volume rather than backing off, and relies on my work as the centerpiece or product, then enforcement is not retaliation, it is containment. You want to play it off to your audience of interesting people, let's call them that. You want to play it off to your audience filled with interesting people, right? As it being retaliatory. But no, I'm asserting my rights. You have the same rights, sir. I just don't violate your rights. You're not chasing him. You're not expanding claims wildly. You're responding only where the infringement occurs using the exact tools the system provides. That's what judges, platforms, and neutral observers expect a rights holder to do. And you've done the same thing, and you would do the same thing if you were in my shoes. You know it. How are you going to come back from this? What are you going to spin? And now, what are you going to do? Go live and talk about me for an hour or two with notes and stuff? Are you going to do the same thing that Miss T's done? Get my transcripts and then quote it all verbatim, right? You're going to go to Rumble and do it there? Because I'm telling you this, next thing I'm doing, I'm going to Rumble and enforcing my copyright there. And I'm going to also submit that to the Federal Copyright Court. You guys think Rumble is safe? You guys think Rumble doesn't enforce DMCA? You can ask Miss T how many videos of hers I've taken down from Rumble. Now, it takes a lot to get shut down from Rumble, but they take DMCAs very seriously now. The clearest, safest way to think about it, it's not about him being obsessed with me, even though it can come off like that. It's not even about that. He repeatedly builds content around my copyrighted work in a way that substitutes for the original. That's why my numbers are low. That stream I did a few days ago got suppressed because there was a restream at the same time. It was also botted pretty heavily. And basically, that video was suppressed because of all that. And it was a good, clean video. And that's why we're in court to stop all of this. that framing is accurate, is provable, and is enough to justify what I'm doing. Bottom line, I am not wrong to enforce. I am not overreacting by using DMCA here. I'm acting narrowly, procedurally, and proportionally. And here's the thing, sir. You understand what the word procedure means, but you don't like to follow procedure. Even in court, you don't like to follow procedure. You've proven that many times throughout different court cases, including the one we're currently in, right? And you don't follow procedure on YouTube. You feel like procedures are useless or irrelevant. Whatever the defendant's personal motivations are, the observable conduct is what matters. And that conduct justifies your actions. Hey, you may be a completely different person in the real world. Who knows? The way you behave on YouTube justifies the enforcement and me asserting my rights. The key in federal court is to translate. Oh yeah, I was gonna say this. I came up with this. I told ChatGPT this. It's like what the defendant is doing is basically giving his audience the Cliff Notes version. You know, Cliff Notes. They basically give you the heart of the whole story, so you don't have to read the book, right? So he's giving them the Cliff Notes version on his stream to the point of where they don't come watch my video. And YouTube favors his video of my content over my original, right? That's what matters, right? No one's trying to silence you. You can talk about me all you want. Just don't violate my copyright and don't defame me. The key in federal court is to translate Cliff's Notes cheating product into the 4 fair use factors in a way that sounds objective and evidence-driven. That's what we're going to do, sir. That's what we're going to do. Here's how to frame it so the defendant's I paused and commented argument doesn't carry the day. So you're going to go to court and say, Your Honor, Honorable, whatever your name is in the federal copyright court, Your Honor, I paused and then I commented and then I pressed play again and then I paused and then I commented and pressed play again and I took a 15-minute clip and I stretched it into an hour and a half worth of content because I wanted to keep my audience around because they only donate massive amounts to me when I'm doing Eli content. And then I'm playing it at 2 speed. So that way I can get more substance per minute, or I can get more video per minute. And it also makes me look like I'm doing commentary more often. You know what? I'm going to give you something, sir. You're pretty good at fooling most people with your games. You're not fooling me, period. You never will fool me. You will never, ever, ever fool me. How to beat the 2x speed plus lots of commentary defense. Factor 1, purpose and character, transformative versus substitute. The defendant will say commentary/criticism equals transformative. Excuse me. The strongest reply is transformation isn't just I talked over it. Courts look at whether the new work has a genuinely different purpose. It's to harass and defame me. That's not going to fly. And whether it uses no more than necessary to make the point. You use the heart of my work. You basically play all the parts that make it meaningless for people to go watch my original. That goes against your transformation argument of fair use. A watch party built around your video, even with pauses, is still structured as a replacement viewing experience. not a limited excerpt for critique. This is court-safe phrasing. Intermittent commentary does not automatically make a use transformative where the defendant repeatedly uses long segments of the copyrighted work as the central vehicle of the show or as the product of the show. Factor 3. This is a big one. This is one that you abuse massively, sir. Factor 3, amount and substantiality. Amount and substantiality. The heart of the work. The heart of the work, the Cliff Notes version. You go to the defendant's channel and you can get the Cliff Notes version of Eli's stream, the point of where you don't have to watch his stream. And he's even said it publicly, I'll tell you here what's going on so you don't have to go and give him a view, right? You've said that before, right? This is where your Cliff Notes idea, thank you ChatGPT for giving me credit for coming up with that idea. This is where your Cliff Notes idea belongs. But say it like this. Even if the raw minutes copied seem small, courts care about qualitative value, quality, the quality of the value, right? i.e., the heart or most valuable parts. Yeah, that's what you do. Your 2x speed, your 2-speed point is helpful. Speeding it up is an attempt to consume more of your work while claiming less time. But it still copies the expression. Because he paused frequently and stretched it to 1 hour, it supports that your work was the centerpiece or the product, not incidental. Court-safe phrasing. Defendant selected and played the most important portions, i.e., an example, the heart of the work, so viewers could obtain the substance of plaintiff's original without watching plaintiff's video. And my numbers have shown it. I should be getting twice the views I'm getting and more algorithmic boost. But what he's doing and his whole group is doing when they rebroadcast me or use large portions of my content, they take away from my views. They take away from my algorithmic reach. And they get the boost on our content when it should be us, right? And he thinks I care about him talking shit about me. You can talk all you want about me. Just don't defame me and don't copyright. Don't violate me on copyright. And you know it. You know I have no problem with you talking about you. But what else are you going to say to your audience at this point, right? What else are you going to say? Factor 4, market effect, substitution. This is your strongest Cliff Notes idea stated properly. If a viewer can get the substance of your stream from the defendant's watch party, it substitutes for your original. Substitutions can exist even if viewers watch for his personality. So he's going to try to claim that they're not watching him for me, they're watching him for him. And what this is saying is that substitution can still exist even if viewers watch for his personality. The market harm is that the infringing stream captures the audience attention and watch time that your original would otherwise receive. And he knows it. He doesn't want to give me views on my own content. Court-safe phrasing. The watch party format is substitutionary. It delivers the substance of plaintiff's content to defendant's audience on defendant's channel, reducing the incentive to view plaintiff's original. Couldn't have said it better myself. Donations/commercial exploitation. You're right that donations and solicitation matter, but let's use it here correctly, okay? Commercial use doesn't automatically defeat fair use. The defendant has said that. He's right about that, but it can affect it, and I'll tell you why. But it weighs against fair use when paired with substitution and heavy copying. The clean point is he monetized a show whose draw was your copyrighted work, and he repeatedly solicited donations during/around the playback. I can prove that. I have all the videos that he gets most of his donations while he's using my content, stretched out over an hour plus of his stream, or of a stream he does. Court-safe phrasing. Defendant commercially exploited plaintiff's work by using it as the central draw of a donation-supported broadcast. Right. That turns "he made me the product" into evidence. Speaks for itself. Now, I'm going to read this last part, then take one more break and come back for another 30, 40 minutes and finish the rest. Although defendant intermittently paused and added commentary, this is a summary. The broadcast was structured around extended playback of plaintiff's copyrighted audio-visual work at 2 speeds. Sometimes he does 1.5 speeds, sometimes he does 2 speed. Okay? Presented in a long watch party segment lasting over an hour. Defendant selected and played the qualitative heart of the work, the Cliff's Notes version, so there's no reason for his audience to go watch my original, allowing viewers to obtain the substance of plaintiff's video on defendant's channel rather than viewing plaintiff's original. Defendant further used the segment in a donation-supported stream, underscoring the commercial substitutionary nature of the use. Start preparing for copyright court, sir. I mean, we're going to try the CCB on just these 2 videos because I know you're filing your counter notifications. So, we're going to try the CCB on these 2 claims, and if you opt out, then we will just amend our complaint at the time and add them to the federal case. And there's going to be 5 copyright certificates, all filed within the first 90 days of publication, that are going to entitle me to sue for statutory damages, which do not require loss of income. And I will be suing pro se. And all of these registrations are not being registered under the GNA, my LLC. They're going to be registered under my name, Elias Melas, individual. Seems like you and I, sir, are going to be in court for quite some time. Yeah. All right. I'm going to take another break. I'm going to take another break here. And Tia is laughing. What are you laughing about? Let me know, and I'll get to it when I get back to you. I hope you're having a great day, you and Don, and Sandra, and GLM. And where's ODN? He loves these streams. He loves them. This will be probably a little bit of a shorter break. I'm actually getting through this pretty quickly, and then I'm going to be walking here later on this evening on GNA2. Let me see here. All right, music is all queued up. Music is all queued up in a step away. Let us know also, Tia, did YouTube give you the option, since you've been a member for 18 months, to write a note like that for the chat? Because it looks like you manually filled that in. That's pretty cool. That is so awesome. And thank you. Thank you for saying that. And thank you for continuing to be a member for 18 months. That's a year and a half. God bless you. And God bless your husband, Ray, who's in a better place. We never forget Ray here. We never do. We never forget anyone that the people that care for us care for. Wow. All right. Stick around. Stick around. We'll be right back. right, we are back. We are back live. Welcome back to the show, everyone. Whoo, man. I like this song. Yeah. Silent Partner, Take Me Home Tonight from the YouTube audio library. All right, welcome back to Navigating the Modern World with Eli. Glad you could all join me here today. This is the third and final segment of this show. We're going to get right back to the rest of what I need to go over here in just a few. Before we get to that, during the break, I ended up going over to the defendant's community wall. And nothing new, sir, when you have nothing of substance to respond to, because if you respond to the substance, you have no argument. You literally have no argument. So when you have no argument, sir, what you do is insult people. That's all you do. You insult people, right? And then you're projecting massively, saying that I can't argue my points. I think I'm doing a damn good job of arguing my points so well that you can't even respond with substance. So then you flip it and say my points are not full of substance, without manipulating cherry-picked stuff from ChatGPT. And you're saying that none of it's going to work in court. And then he's telling me to file the case and serve him the papers, and then he called me a loser. Insult, sir. Sir, I'm so insulted. That is so insulting. I bet you're still watching me right now. You're listening to every single word that comes out of my mouth intently, right? And all you have are insults. And then the other lady, the one that he acts in concert with, his buddy, Miss T, right? She ends up putting out a community posting saying that hold on a second. There it is. Okay. Saying that if any of her videos were taken down, she would have strikes on the channel. That's not the way that Rumble works, ma'am. Okay? That screen is for policy enforcement outside of copyright. Okay? So, you're misleading people there, because you have nothing of substance either to present. Because if you responded to my points full of substance, you would be admitting guilt. And you're not going to do that. Neither is the defendant, right? Copyright DMCA is handled separately on Rumble. On Rumble, copyright takedowns are processed through a DMCA workflow, not the general community policy violation system, which is what you're showing your audience. That means a video can be removed or disabled for copyright without incrementing the visible policy violation counter, without showing up on the creator's general violation dashboard. So when she says that none of her videos ever went down, she's conflating two different systems, right? And what does the policy violations counter usually show? Hate, harassment, threats or violence, adult or restricted content, platform rule violations, non-copyright. See, here's the thing, ma'am. I don't feel the need to do this, and I'm not going to do this. I have screenshots and the links to those original videos of yours that went down, and I even downloaded those videos before they went down, right? So if I have to prove anything, which I don't have to prove anything to anyone out here, my people believe me. My people actually believe anything over what you folks say, because you have a history of lying as your content, because you have nothing of substance to reply with because you're boxed in. All of you are so boxed in that where is there left to go with this? I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that, right? Anyway, so let's continue here. Oh, Tia said, what I find comical is when you imitate people, and then she said, oddly, Ray would do imitating too. I don't know if that's odd, but I think that's great. I know what you meant to say. You're both good at it. Thanks for thinking of Ray. It means a lot. Well, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. And thank you again for being here and for being a member for 18 months, Tia. That's amazing. Thank you. Seriously. Wholeheartedly. Okay. So let's talk about the specific analysis of my timestamp mapping regarding when I filed the 2 DMCAs. This is on one of them, right? The mapping you gave, your original video source work from 9 minutes and 14 seconds through 9 minutes and 32 seconds. The defendant's stream infringing playback 30 minutes and 23 seconds through 30 minutes and 36 seconds, played at approximately 1.5 speed. That means the defendant is using the same underlying segment of your video, but compressing it in his timeline because it is being played at an increased speed. The numbers matter, and they support my point. Your original segment length, 9:14 through 9:32, is 18 seconds. The defendant's segment length, 30:23 through 30:36, is 13 seconds. If that segment is played at approximately 1.5 speed, you would expect an 18-second clip to take about 12 seconds of playback time before accounting for any buffering, brief pauses, UI delays, user interface delays, or the fact that playback speeds are not always perfectly exact. It's pretty close. The 12 seconds is pretty close to 13 seconds. So a 13-second window for an 18-second original is fully consistent with playback at 1.5 speed, at 1.5 increased speed plus minor pauses, restarts, or timestamp rounding. Bottom line, your mapping is internally coherent and fits the 1.5x playback reality. Sometimes it uses 1.5x, sometimes it uses 2-speed 2x. Why this matters? This mapping is valuable because it shows two things at once. Direct copying, identity match. You're not describing a similar idea or a summary. You're identifying a specific fixed audio-visual segment, 9:14 through 9:32, and exactly where it appears inside the defendant's stream, 30:23 through 30:36. That level of specificity makes verification straightforward for reviewers. That's why they took it down so fast. They identified the very first part of both streams. They saw that it's the whole watch party thing, but that's all they needed was that beginning. It went down in 2 minutes, flat. Editing choice that increases content density. Playing content at 1.5 speed does not reduce copying. It changes presentation speed while preserving the same protected expression, your voice, your sequence of words, your audio-visual performance. So the effect is he can use more of your work per minute of his runtime. There you go, sir. You can use more of my work per minute of your runtime. That's not it. This is the big kicker is really coming. That's not a moral judgment. It is a mechanical fact. What 1.5 speed does and doesn't do legally and practically, what it does, compress the playback time so it appears shorter in his timeline. And then allows him to include more of your video without spending as much of his runtime on continuous playback. And when combined with pauses, it can create the appearance of frequent commentary because he can stop more often while still moving through substantial source material. So when you do it at 2-speed, you're getting, basically for every minute of my content you use, it's 2 minutes worth of content. So even if you pause more often, you're doing that because you're trying to make it appear like you're doing more commentary than you actually are. Sleight of hand. Sir, you are a master of the sleight of hand trick or sleight of hand tricks. And over the years, I've learned that's how you operate. That's how you operate, sir, sleight of hand. You try to game the system, sir. That's what you try to do here. You're not necessarily trying to get through the content faster. If you could run a 4-hour stream on me and make $500, you'd be streaming all day, every day. So, sir, don't try to. I'm just going to be nice. I'm not going to say what I was going to say. Don't try to say it otherwise. Of course, you're just going to insult me because you have nothing of substance to respond to something so clear and evident. What it does not do, it does not make the copied material not yours. It is my copied material. Or it is my material that he copied, which is what I'm trying to say. It does not automatically make the use transformative. It does not meaningfully reduce the amount factor if he is repeatedly using your content throughout a stream for over an hour at a time. How this supports your product point without claiming intent. From this mapping alone, 914 through 932 appearing at 3023 through 3036 at approximately 1.5 speed, the defensible conclusion is the defendant is not merely referencing you, he is incorporating your actual audiovisual content into his stream as an element his audience consumes, and he is presenting it in a sped up format that allows more of your content to be delivered in less time. That is the effect, and it is provable from the timestamps. And it also makes him appear like he's doing more commentary than he actually is. That's the main point right there. Correcting the record language, and this is coming directly from the analysis. I want to correct the record because there's confusion about what's happening. This isn't someone talking about my content. It is my content being played inside their stream. For example, a clip from my original video that runs from 914 to 932 appears inside another stream at 3023 to 3036. Played at an increased speed, speeding it up doesn't make it commentary and it doesn't make it transformative. It is still my audiovisual work. The effect of increased playback speed is simple. It allows more of the original content to be delivered in less time. And when you build a segment around playing someone else's work, sped up or not, that work becomes the product being delivered to the audience. I am your product, sir. I am your product. And you've been living off my product for over 6 years. And you want to still live off my product because you feel you're entitled to my product, sir. And you're not entitled to my product at all. That's why I enforce my copyrights. This isn't about disagreement. It is about actual playback of my work inside someone else's content. All right. Just a little more to go. Oh, let me make sure it sounds okay. I still live off my product because you feel you're entitled to my product, sir, and you're not. entitled to my product at all. Number one, we're going to now deeply analyze. That was the first piece of content I filed a copyright on. This is the second one. This is the deep analysis of DMCA number 2 and the timestamps. What the timestamps establish: 9:14 through 1:13:21, 01:13:21, 1 hour 13 minutes 21 seconds. That's my original target. So basically, what he did was he picked out the heart of the stream that I did that was between the 9-minute and 14-second mark through the 1 hour, 13-minute, and 21-second mark. And in his video, he played that. He played like, I think, a 15-minute section between 30 minutes and 23 seconds and 1 hour and 39 minutes and 7 seconds. Literally, that's like an hour and 8 minutes or so, an hour and 9 minutes stretch of a 15-minute piece of my content being the heart of the work, to the point of where people don't have to go to my replay or my video to watch it, right? Anchor match you observed. I believe this one was at 2x. Actually, you know what? That was the same stream as the previous one. This is going into more details. Sorry. The other one had different timestamps. This is a more deeper analysis of the same one. Sorry about that. So this was your clip. 9:14 through 9:32 appears at the defendant's stream at 30:23 through 30:36, and it's at 1.5 speed. The anchor is valuable because it strongly suggests the watch party block begins exactly when the defendant begins playing your content, and YouTube can verify quickly by jumping to 30 minutes and 23 seconds. B, 13 minutes of the heart plus 1.5 speed. Why this is strong, even without arguing motive. Even if the defendant pauses and comments, what matters is how the segment is structured. A long block where your work is being played, even chunked with pauses, is consistent with a watch party / substitutionary viewing experience, not a short quote used to illustrate a point. That's what fair use is, sir. It's not to basically make me the product of your content. Speeding it up does not reduce copying. It changes tempo, but it is still your protected audio-visual expression, your words, voice, delivery, sequence. The 1.5 speed point helps you in a non-speculative way. The effect of faster playback is that more original content can be delivered per minute. So you can use twice my content per minute, right? And that also makes it appear like you're making more commentary. Sleight of hand, man. Sleight of hand. You don't have to claim he did it to evade YouTube. I'm not going to claim that, but in my opinion, he tries to evade platform enforcement all the time. He's actually circumventing a YouTube ban. He's evading his ban. That's a fact. Those are actual known facts. It has the effect of compressing more of my content into less runtime. That's defensible. Absolutely. C, the fair use pressure points. What wins arguments later? If this ends up in a YouTube email follow-up, they didn't even ask me the fair use thing. They just took it down 2 minutes later. I was prepared for that too. I was prepared for the, the fair use email sometimes they send you, right? I was ready to rock, but it wasn't necessary. That does say something. So if this ends up in a YouTube email, which it didn't, or email follow-up, CCB, Copyright Claims Board, or federal court, The strongest points are factor 3, amount, substantiality. Let's go over this again a little bit more with a little more detail. You're alleging he used the heart of your stream and did so in an extended block. The anchor example beginning of my stream and his usage of my stream from 9:14 on my end and 30:23 on his end. So the beginning of mine, of my source video was 9 minutes and 14 seconds. The beginning of where he played that on his stream was at 30 minutes and 23 seconds. Supports that he's not using a random snippet. He's pulling a meaningful segment. Factor 4, market substitution. Watch party format can substitute for watching the original, especially where the audience is consuming the substance of your stream on his channel. This is even stronger if he's using it as a main segment of his show, not as a brief quotation. More than half of his show, typically when he uses my content, more than half of his show is my content. And when he was doing these streams where he played this content that I filed the DMCA's on, he was either talking about me beforehand, which is fine. He can talk about me all he wants as long as he doesn't defame me or violate my copyright. But he played other parts he played other pieces of my content, which is what I'm trying to say. Factor 1, purpose and character. Commentary doesn't automatically equal transformation if the structure is play lots of the original, add intermittent reactions, or add intermittent insults. He's not reacting to what's actually being said in substance. He's reacting to it with insults primarily. Sometimes he will deny what's being said. No, that's not true, when it is, right? Other times he's just insulting. D, what your current claim does not need to prove today. I've already gotten it taken down, so it's all good. We don't have to go through that. Now, let's just, babe, go ahead and start getting your quote in right now, please. 1 minute delay between what I say and what goes out on these in-studio streams. Let me see here, because we're getting close to the end here. Let's correct the record. This is analysis-based, not motive-based. I want to correct the record about what's happening with my content so I can clarify this once again. This isn't someone briefly quoting me. It is my stream being played inside their stream. In this video, my stream appears starting exactly where their segment begins. For example, my original at 9:14 through 9:32 shows up in their stream at 30:23 through 30:36, and it is played at a faster speed, 1.5x. And then the other video was 2x. But I'm not going to go over that one. Speeding it up doesn't change ownership. It is still my copyrighted audiovisual work. The effect of faster playback is simple. It lets more of the original content be delivered per minute. And if you pause frequently, it can look like constant commentary, even though a lot of the original is still being consumed. Listen to this one more time. When you speed up somebody's video, when you're doing, commentary on it, okay? It can look like constant commentary, even though a lot of the original is still being consumed. Because when you crank up the speed, it lets more of the original content be delivered per minute. So, at 1.5 speed, you can get around a minute 25, a minute 30 or so of of content per minute. At 2-speed, you get 2 minutes of content every minute, right? And if you, let's say you pause every 15 seconds, it's equivalent to pausing every 30 seconds because the content's being played at 2-speed. It's a sleight of hand trick by the defendant, right? It doesn't work on me. Speeding it up doesn't change ownership. It's still my copyrighted audiovisual work. The effect of faster playback is simple. It lets more. I already read that. That's why I enforce my copyrights. I'm not trying to create drama. I am not trying to silence anyone. Get it through your head. You can talk about me all you want, okay? Just don't defame me and don't violate my copyright. No one's trying to silence you. What I'm doing is protecting my content, my actual audio video content. You want to go live and talk about me all day, every day? Do it. I will say the same exact thing at the anti-SLAPP hearing. I will say the same exact thing in federal court. You can continue to try to fight that, it's protected speech or it's fair use. All you want, sir. Best of luck to you. Good luck. So again, that's why I enforce my copyrights. I'm not trying to create drama. I'm not trying to silence anyone. I am protecting my work from extended watch party style use. That's what you've always done, sir. You know why? Because you have no other content. You cannot go live on your own like I do and just talk off the top of your head. Now, I am taking notes here because this is a lot of stuff. I want to stay on point. But if I had to go without a script here or without notes, I could have still run this stream and still gotten my point across. You, sir, can't do that. And even when you've tried to do that, you get far fewer donations. You, sir, have to be a copycat. Everyone's called you a copycat year over year over year. And that's what you are, in my opinion, sir. You're a copycat. And once we get through these 2 court cases, then the judgments will prove how much of a copycat you really are. Speed changes tempo, not ownership. And this is one major final correction to keep me maximally credible. Instead of saying to avoid DMCA enforcement or sleight of hand trick, well, thank you, ChatGPT. I still said it. It's my opinion. And I'm not going to be a boring person, especially on YouTube, right? You can say it has the effect of, it can create the appearance of, it compresses more content into less time. And that's it. We are done. Santa Palacio, how are you doing? Welcome to the show. Hi, hey, Eli, I'm switching between you and the Bills game. I've been here since you started. Thank you, Sandra. I hope your weekend is going well. Sandra says, hi, everyone. Give me a second here. Give me a second. Okay, I'm muted for a second. Dawn is getting her quote ready right now. While I wait for Dawn, all I'm going to say is this. This is a game to the defendant and also to Miss T and other people in that group. I'll get to Dawn's quote in just a few. This is a game. And he knows, and they all know, the game is over. The jig is up. It's done. Okay? A lot of people that have done these watch parties have been sued over them. Ethan Klein sued 2 YouTubers for this. And I got to see how their case is going. Last time I checked a month ago or so, the cases were still active. You cannot just go live and commercially exploit someone because you built an audience of people that hate that person and will donate the more you use their content, right? And sir, here's the thing. If you have other things that can make you the same money that my content makes you and get you the same traction, why don't you do that? Why don't you go live and talk about that? Why don't you go live? Here's the thing. You want to prove to us, you, Miss T, you, Mr. J, you, everyone in that group, prove to us that you can get views and make money without talking about us. Boy, I've been streaming a lot this month. I just got my bandwidth meter notice that my outgoing traffic is at 473 gigabytes for the month and 127 gigs for, incoming traffic, right? I've used 600 gigs of data in the first 17 days on my laptop alone. Now, that doesn't include streaming and all that stuff. We have multiple TV streaming, quite often. We use at least 3 terabytes of data each month. It's unlimited, AT&T fiber. But wow, I just got my bandwidth meter alert. Okay, thank you for that. I'm going to hold off on Don's quote for a second and just say, I'm going to keep enforcing my rights with all of you. It doesn't matter who you are. Now, some of you are going to try to hit me while I'm walking because it's a little bit, I could still file a DMCA from the phone. I've done it many times. I know how to do it. It doesn't take that much effort. I figured out how to do it, and I have done it. You folks have seen me do it, right? But you folks know that it's a little bit more difficult to do it from the phone, which is why you folks do that, right? But I can still get it done in about 3 minutes or so. On the laptop, I can do it within a minute. It doesn't take that long. The form is pre-filled. All you have to do is get the 2 links, and then while you're live, you just select entire video, and that's it. You select it's a live stream, active live stream. That's all. I don't know how much longer you want to keep this going. I'm really tired of correcting the record. I'm really tired of being commercially exploited. Honestly, I'm not upset at what you're saying, sir. I'm not offended or upset at what any of you are saying. What I'm doing is protecting my content and also my reputation and being commercially exploited. So do what you got to do. And maybe one day you'll come around to responding to the substance of the matters I've discussed from my in-studio correcting the record streams that I've done many of lately. You folks seem to ignore those. Why? Because responding to them will make you come off guilty. You folks know what you're doing is wrong. But you feel like, no one's going to hold you accountable. And even though we're in court, until the court holds you accountable, you're still free to do whatever you want, per se, right? But at some point, you're going to answer for all of this. And I cannot wait to see you. I cannot wait, sir, to see how you're going to answer certain questions in front of Judge Stacy. And then when we go to copyright court, in federal copyright court, how you're going to answer questions. I mean, you, Mr. J, and Miss T, and others in the group, you can say whatever you want on YouTube to your audience. You can convince your audience whatever you want. Do you think the same things are going to work on the judges? I don't have to go any further than that. Don's quote, respectfully, maturely, and professionally, Don says, when someone takes what you created and turns it into their profit, protecting your work isn't just legal. It is the defense of your voice, your vision, and your dignity. Have a good Saturday. One more time. That's beautiful, Don. Respectfully, maturely, and professionally, Don says, when someone takes what you created and turns it into their profit, protecting your work isn't just legal. It is the defense of your voice, your vision, and your dignity. Have a good Saturday, everyone. I'm going to be going live from a walk in about an hour or so from now, right here on GNA2, Genuine Live Personal Development. Thank you, Sandra Palacio, for being here. Thank you, Tia, for being here. Thank you, GLM, for being here earlier. And thank you to my lovely lady, Dawn, respectfully, maturely, and professionally, for being here. Got a lot of love for all of you. With that being said, have a good one. Take care. And as always, be good to each other.